Choosing your first designer handbag can honestly feel overwhelming because there are so many options. You want something that feels luxurious and exciting, but also practical enough that you're actually going to wear it. I think for a first designer bag specifically, the goal is finding something versatile, functional, and something that still feels special years from now. So these are 5 bags that I think make great first designer handbags. And I tried to choose options across different aesthetics: structured, casual, trendy, and everyday. First is the Givenchy Antigona toy. I feel like this bag is a really underrated choice. What I love about it is that it has that structured, polished look without being huge or overly formal. It gives a very elevated feel immediately. The silhouette has been around for years, so it doesn't feel like something you'll look back on and think, why did I buy that trend? I also think this bag works well because it can transform from day to night. You can wear it casually with jeans and sneakers, but it can also work with dressier outfits. The only thing I would consider is capacity. Since it's the toy version, you're not fitting your whole life in there. But if you're someone who mainly carries your phone, keys, wallet, lip gloss, maybe a few essentials, I think it's a really strong first luxury option. If you're more of a casual, everyday person and you want something iconic, then my second choice is probably one of the easiest recommendations. The Louis Vuitton Speedy 20. I feel like this bag checks so many boxes. First, it has the history and recognition factor. People know the Speedy silhouette, but the 20 size feels a little more current and wearable. I love that you get top handles and a crossbody strap because versatility matters, especially when this might be your first larger designer purchase. The canvas is durable, which I think is a huge plus for beginners because sometimes your first designer purchase can make you overly cautious. You don't want to feel scared to actually use it. You can wear this running errands, traveling, brunch, pretty much anything. It also doesn't scream for attention while still being recognizable. Now, if you're someone who loves more of a quiet luxury elevated look, this next one is for you. The Celine Nano Luggage Tote. I know the larger luggage totes had a huge moment years ago, but I think the Nano version is still such a good first designer option. What I like about it is that it's structured, it feels expensive, and Celine leather is beautiful. It also carries more than people think. This is the type of bag that can become your everyday work bag, coffee run bag, lunch bag, just an everyday luxury bag. The one thing I will say is that it's slightly heavier than some of the others on this list, so if weight matters a lot to you, definitely keep that in mind. Now, I wanted to include something for people who like trends but still want something that has longevity. The Bottega Veneta Naturno bag. Bottega has become really popular over the last several years, but what I appreciate is that a lot of their bags don't rely heavily on logos. If you're someone who wants luxury without obvious branding everywhere, I think this is a really good option. It feels modern and fashion forward, but still understated. I also think shoulder bags are really practical because they're easy to throw on and go. And if your style leans more minimal, neutral, or capsule wardrobe focused, I think this could integrate really well. My last pick is probably one of my strongest recommendations for a first designer purchase. The Louis Vuitton Boulogne bag in the PM or NM version. I love this because I think it combines practicality with a more elevated look. The empreinte leather gives you the Louis Vuitton feel, but it's softer and more subtle than traditional monogram canvas. And personally, if I were choosing the Boulogne as a first designer handbag, I would specifically recommend going with the empreinte leather option. I think it gives the bag a more elevated and timeless feel. And because the logo is embossed instead of printed, it feels a little more understated and versatile. You also get multiple styling options, which I think is really important for a first purchase. If I'm spending this much money, I want my bag working overtime. I think this is the kind of bag that can easily become an everyday staple. So, overall, if I had to give one piece of advice for buying your first designer handbag, I would say don't feel like you have to buy brand new. I actually recommend looking at the pre loved market first because you can save a lot of money and sometimes get better value for your budget. Two places I would personally look are Fashion File and eBay Authenticity Guarantee. Especially if you're buying your first bag, you may be able to get a style that originally costs much more at a significantly better price. And remember, your first designer bag doesn't have to be your forever bag. Choose something that fits your lifestyle, not just something that's trending online. Thank you so much for watching, and in the comments, let me know which one would be your pick.